what has happened is we've had this 4-year cycle where the price moves. That movement post-halving creates FOMO, and people really start coming in. Then we get overvalued, and then the shorts come in, and we have a bear market, and then we start over. So why is this time different? Well, before the halving, we were on the way to fair value. So if you go back one cycle, the fair value was 32,000. What is fair value? Fair value is determined by a Metcalfe's law model. There's a guy, Tim Peterson, who keeps it, and he has a really good model. Well, the price got to 69. Well, 69 is too high. So what happened? We had a bear market. But in a bear market, you don't just go down to fair value. You go through fair value because people are freaked out. They get liquidated because they're on margin. And so we go down in the bear market. Well, when the price gets below fair value, what happens? Investors who like to buy things below fair value start buying. And that's crypto spring. The price stops going down and starts to go back up. Well, then what happens? Then the traders come in and the traders start to push the price because there's more activity. And we start to go back towards fair value, and that's crypto summer. Well, crypto fall, which starts here in June, is when the real momentum traders come in and the speculators and the gamblers. And then you get the big parabolic move. That's post-halving. Well, why? Well, again, normally when the block rewards get cut in half, the price needs to rise and that draws more people into it. Okay. Well, this time in January, we had the approval of the ETFs. Well, the price was about 40,000. Fair value had moved up to 50,000. And we were going just like normal. We'd hit fair value at the halving, and then we'd go into the FOMO. All right. Well, this time we went from 40,000 all the way up to 70,000. New all-time high. Well, why was that? Supply and demand. There was new demand, limited supply. And the real problem is the actual supply of trading Bitcoin is very different than the hodled Bitcoin. You know, there's the Bitcoin that's been lost or stolen. That's never coming back. There's the Bitcoin that isn't going to move because people just don't want to sell it. So about 30% of the network tokens trade hands on any given year. And so there were about 900 a day being mined, and the new ETFs were sucking up about 6,000 a day. So if you got demand for 6,000, supply of 900, price is going to go up. Okay, so we got above fair value before the halving. Why does that matter? Well, on the halving, if the fair value was 50, then we're going to go to 100, right? Because we got cut the rewards in half. You double the fair value. There was another difference. This time, because of ordinals and runes, right? These protocols that are built on top of Bitcoin to allow inscriptions. Think about it. If you own a digital asset, a digital artifact, a piece of digital property, where do you want to store it? Do you want to store it on a network where the actual asset isn't on chain? It's actually on an AWS server somewhere and there's a pointer? That doesn't seem so secure. Like, what if AWS says, all right, you can't get your asset? I'd rather have it on chain where I control the keys. So ordinals allow people to inscribe digital assets onto the Bitcoin blockchain. Well, in order to do that, they have to pay transaction fees to the miners to secure the network. So now transaction fees start to rise. So maybe fair value this time doesn't have to go up quite as much. So let's say maybe it goes to 80,000 this time instead of 100. Okay. So between the halving and sometime, when crypto fall starts in June, we should start to see things creep toward that new fair value of 80,000. But Mark, we got all this volatility. What's happening? The third thing that happened that's different is the paper market for Bitcoin got very, very large. And this happens in commodities. Again, you've been doing this a long time. You've seen lots of examples of the gold market in London for years has been spoofed. right? You see all this money printing around the world, but gold prices didn't seem to move. Why? People like JP Morgan, and I can use their name because they got fined $1 billion 3 years ago. Think about that. They got fined $1 billion for spoofing gold. Well, what does that mean? It means they sell paper gold in the market to push the price down, and then they can be long actual gold or gold ETFs, and they can arbitrage profit. And they made $20 billion doing this. Now, you're not supposed to do it. You're not supposed to go naked short, so you get fined. And they're like, we made $1 billion. I mean, we made $20 billion. We paid $1 billion. That's the cost of doing business. We'll do that all day long. I would do that all day long. Now, I don't like to break rules because I'm a dutiful firstborn, so I'm not going to do it. And I don't have the capital base that JP Morgan has either. But now that's happening in Bitcoin. Very quietly, and nobody's talking about this, very quietly on the same day that the Bitcoin ETFs were approved, the CME approved a whole host of new derivative contracts on Bitcoin. And what it allows is for paper Bitcoin to be created. And everybody thought that the ETFs were going to be so great because it was going to increase demand for actual spot Bitcoin. Because a year earlier, when the futures ETFs were approved, all you were able to buy was the futures contract. There was no change in the demand for spot Bitcoin. And so the price didn't move because there was no demand for actual Bitcoin. Well, this is actually worse than that. Because now, with all of these futures contracts, the big players can push the price down because, let's think about this. Who is going to be the big buyer of spot Bitcoin in the new ETF world? Oh, these big institutions like BlackRock, et cetera.
Right.
Well, if they want to buy a bunch of something, would they like to pay a high price or a low price? A low price. So, age-old thing, and again, this goes back to my time, it's being an old guy. Soros, Robertson, Steinhardt, if they wanted to buy a lot of something, they didn't go out and buy it. They actually sold it, or even went short it and told everybody they hated it. I love this story. So Dwight Anderson worked for Julian, and he did this big report on why they should buy copper. And he went in, and Julian said, "Oh, okay, that sounds like a good route. All right, go sell 50 million of copper." And Dwight's like, I know, no, my report says buy copper. He says, "Oh, I know, but I want you to go sell 50 million short and tell everyone on the street that we hate copper. And then we'll buy $500 million worth of copper." So I think that's what's going on right now, is you got all these big guys shorting, and you see it just about every night in the way the futures move versus the spot price.
Okay.
That's a super long answer to your question, but I do think that between now and the end of the year, we get a steady move back toward that new fair value of 80. And post-Thanksgiving, that's when I think we go parabolic.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. Hey, do you want to profit from crypto? Then join my DeFi Academy. The Crypto DeFi Academy will help you create generational wealth. But don't take my word for it. Listen to my students.
When I first got into crypto, I remember thinking to myself, I need to learn more. Brian Rose, learning crypto, learning DeFi, gotta do it.
I am so grateful that I jumped in and did this. I had to break through some limiting beliefs that I can do this, that I can afford this, that I can be in this.
It challenges the things that are deeply rooted within us.
Joining DeFi Academy has been one of the best decisions I have made on my blockchain journey.
This course was a life changer, a game changer, a huge eye-opener, coming from knowing practically nothing at the speed of the learning over 4 weeks was just fantastic.
The information you provided in this class was invaluable.
I feel far more confident in my next steps.
You took complex concepts and made them easier to understand.
What's different than so many other ones is it just doesn't tell you what to do. It actually makes you do it.
This is for people who are serious about becoming traders. This is the way it should be done.
I realized from this learning experience again that it is not about what you learn, but about who you learn it from.
The energy was insane. I've never experienced such incredible energy on a live call. Brian Rose, you are a legend, my friend.
It's the only thing in the market where you can get all information and learn everything what you need to know.
Everything is so clear and so well done, and I'm just forever grateful for this program.
It made me feel so much more confident about crypto than I did before.
I did not anticipate how passionate I was going to become about it.
It's also been like a big learning experience for me, not just in the crypto space, but just an overall balance of life.
What I've learned is, how to take ownership, of my life in a way that I really hadn't before.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that, really.
I would recommend it to anybody, top notch.
Excellence does not come cheap. So if you want excellence, you got to pay for it, but it's so worth it.
Pull the trigger. That's what this course is about.
You're not going to regret it, really. It's amazing.
Thank you, Brian and team.
So what are you waiting for? Crypto is happening now. Click the link below, submit your application, and let me mentor you on how to create generational wealth and build the decentralized financial infrastructure of the future.